Well, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Preston Prince. I'm the CEO of the Fresno Housing Authority. And while we are experiencing some very difficult times at the national level and here locally, we thought taking a moment to celebrate this opportunity was just the right thing to do. So the Monarch at Chinatown. It is a recognition that it's on Mariposa Street, but it's really a recognition about the process of the transformation from a caterpillar to a butterfly. The way that Chinatown, through this investment with high-speed rail, TCC, and other investments from the city, and from many partners, that we are catalyzing an amazing transformation, and that's why we call this the Monarch at Chinatown. It's also a development that really meets the quadruple bottom line, and I know Mayor Brand knows well the bottom line of the for-profit world of profit. This is the 4 Ps. We want to have a profit. In this case, it's about the return on dividends for this amazing investment in our community. But it's also about the people that we serve in the community. It's about the planet and the use of funds that will reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. And it's about purpose. It's about having a broader vision for what we want to see happening in Fresno. So before we get into our speakers, we'd love to show a video thanks to CMAC. So CMAC, you can run the video. Hashtag Chinatown Matters. Hashtag Chinatown Matters. Thank you, CMAC, for putting together a great video of a neighborhood that we are so proud to be developing this project in. If you can show the large screen again real quick, Kyle. I just want to point out that there are so many partners that make the Monarch at Chinatown come together. You can see at the bottom of the screen all of the different partners. And I'm really excited that we have a few of them who are going to join us today. And to begin today's program, it's my honor to introduce Mayor Lee Brand, who's been serving the city as our mayor since 2017. While TCC may have seeds back into a previous administration, it really grew and blossomed under Mayor Brand's tutelage. With folks including Courtney Espinoza and H. Spies, the mayor ensured that a transparent and democratic process, and I remember the day when we held up our votes that was near unanimous, all but one person, where we held up our votes supporting the TCC applications. But he ensured a democratic process was followed that resulted in a truly innovative, publicly led collaboration known as Transform Fresno. Mayor Brand knows housing. Before becoming our 25th mayor, he was the president and co-founder of Westco Equities, Inc., a property management and construction firm, which he owned and operated for 30 years. Mayor Brand knows Fresno. He was born and raised in Fresno, attended local schools, and graduated from Fresno State University. He did leave for a short time to go complete his education at USC. I won't hold that against him, but he did come back. Mayor Brand knows transformation. He told his personal story in one of the early editions of Focus Forward, of being arrested and booked at the county jail and then transferred to juvenile hall. From there, he experienced a personal transformation. He uses that personal transformation to embed hope, strength, and resilience into revitalization and restoration of our neighborhoods. For if he can experience transformation, so can others, and so can neighborhoods. Welcome, Mayor Brand. So excited to have you join us and celebrate what happens due to your authentic leadership and the private-public investment coming together. Mayor Brand.
Thank you for the introduction, Preston. So good afternoon. It's an unusual way to celebrate a groundbreaking, but 2020, as we all know, has been a very unusual year. It's my pleasure to help the Fresno Housing Authority celebrate the groundbreaking of this amazing project that will provide affordable housing, encourage the use of mass transit, pedestrian walkways, and then provide new retail space to stimulate economic development in and around Chinatown. It's also a great example of one of my top goals as mayor, which is improving the quality of life for our community. A broad base of public and private stakeholders work together to revitalize and reinvent Fresno. And that's exactly what's happening here. Thanks to our collective ability to leverage over $10 million from the Transformative Climate Communities Grant that the City of Fresno received. This is project number 1 on the TCC list, and it's time to get to work. This project has also benefited from nearly $400,000 in home grant funding, and I want to thank the development and planning team for their hard work, led by Jennifer Clark with Thomas Morgan and Karina Nunez. Congratulations on a successful launch. And a fire department burn tower played a major role in the discussions of the Monarch Chinatown project. And thanks to the leadership of our city manager, Wilma Kwan, and fire chief, Carrie Donis, the city of Fresno provided assurances to permanently cease all burning activity at Fire Station 3 training tower as a condition of the funding for this project. The city is also doing work related to sustainable transportation infrastructure funds, adding 14 LED lights, street lights on F Street between Fresno and Ventura Streets, planting trees to increase the urban tree canopy, installing a parklet, and reconstructing China Alley behind Kern and Inyo. And I remain steadfast in my promise to work together with anyone who wants to work to improve the quality of life for all Fresnans, and especially in communities like Chinatown that have been tragically underserved for way too long. Our goal is to use the TCC funding to transform Fresno, specifically the corridor between downtown, Chinatown, and Southwest Fresno, and more jobs and better services for everyone. This will not only transform communities, this will transform lives. And there's so much more to be done with our TCC funding. And I look forward to the grand opening that I'll probably be out of office at if you still want to invite me. But thank you for letting me be part of this project.
Thank you, Mayor Brand. Not only will you be invited, you will be a guest speaker for sure. So thank you very much. Our next speaker is Morgan Doizaki. Morgan is known for many things. He's an entrepreneur, owner of the successful Central Fish Company. He's an urban pioneer. He's a developer. Today, he's joining us as the chair of the Chinatown Fresno Foundation. The foundation is a community benefit organization committed to improving Chinatown, Fresno. They deeply believe in opportunity, diversity, and inclusion, and they work with businesses and property owners to strengthen their investments through community events and community meetings. They are bringing vibrancy to the neighborhood. The Chinatown mixed-use urban neighborhood is bound by the railroad tracks at Freeway 99, Fresno Street and Ventura Street. It is 18 blocks. Once a thriving business district, the businesses now are primarily located along F Street, E Street, and Kern Street. Many of the businesses that remain are restaurants featuring an eclectic mix not found anywhere else in Fresno. The foundation is developing a strong, unified voice, uniting property and business owners, residents, and customers to reverse neglect from government, local organizations, and foundations that has been going on for years. Morgan truly has been a strong voice speaking up for Chinatown. Welcome, Morgan.
Hi, my name is Morgan Doizaki. I work for Central Fish Company. It's been family owned since 1950. We're currently celebrating our 70th year anniversary. I'm also a board member for the Chinatown Fresno Foundation. This project, the Monarch at Chinatown, means so much to us. It officially goes down in the history books as the tallest building in Chinatown. This new building will definitely change our skyline forever. It'll be Chinatown's first apartment complex, an upgrade from the SROs or single room occupancy buildings that house the typical Chinatown resident. This project, along with the other TCC projects, Mayor Brand spoke about the urban greening and active transportation that will also help complement this Monarch project and make Chinatown much more safe and beautiful. And this project, is the jumpstart a place like Chinatown Fresno needs to make progress in the community and to fly like a monarch. So I'm glad to be a part of this, because I think people who do know Chinatown Fresno knows that let's just say it's been neglected for, enough time now. I don't think the city could have ever, done something like this. I'm so glad that politicians beyond Fresno's boundaries had to come in and help and save Chinatown. So on that note, I want to thank California, TCC, the Strategic Growth Council, Housing Authority, GGLO, and to everyone else that I didn't mention. But special shout out to Preston Prince. And it's been a true pleasure watching your team work on this project, and the people that you choose to surround yourself with. It's been a real honor. So thank you, Preston, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Morgan. It's really great to come to the foundation meetings when they're hosted at your place. And I'm really looking forward to when we get to host the opening of the Monarch at Chinatown. We not only had folks from outside of the area, politicians and funders who helped us, we also had a great architectural firm. And Jeff Foster, who is with GGLO Architects, is going to say a few words. On a personal note, my first project with GGLO was more than 28 years ago. It was called Andrews Arms in Bellevue, Andrews Heights in Bellevue, Washington. And I have to admit, I was really excited when GGLO came to Fresno because design matters. Design creates a sense of place and drives social interactions. Fortunately, we at Fresno Housing have a second development, the Arthur at Blackstone, also designed by GGLO, that I hope will start construction later this year. So GGLO seeks to bring the essence of community alive in each of their projects, believing that the fundamental desire to interact and feel a part of something can be evoked through design. This perspective runs deep through their practice, helping ensure design solutions have the most positive impact in any context. And then on a personal note about Jeff, he wanted to become an architect since he was in 8th grade. So it's really great to know someone who had a vision early on for their lives. With that, I would like to welcome Jeff Foster and his team from GGLO.
Well, hey, Preston, thanks for that well-researched introduction. Good afternoon, everybody from GGLO. I'd like to introduce our design team, David Marshall, Megan Altendorf, and Scott Cochran, who spent a lot of his life in Fresno and is excited to be part of this project. As Preston mentioned, my name is Jeff Foster, and nearly 3 years ago, we began working with the team at FHA and representatives from Chinatown, including Morgan and many others. You know, it's a long established multicultural downtown district. It has a rich history, though it's seen several decades of neglect and disinvestment. And through California's Transformational Climate Communities Initiative, the Fresno community came together to propose a series of projects to revitalize an area that has almost no housing at all right now. And this is the first project, as Mayor Brandt said, among them to move forward. Being just 2 blocks from the rail station, the Monarch is, again, the first project to kickstart development, but also to connect residents to transportation and jobs, and to lead to growth and prosperity for a neighborhood with a deep history and strong potential. The building we've designed together is architecture that's part of the neighborhood. It conveys meaning in contemporary culture, celebrates the well-being of its users, respects the climate and the environment in this part of the world, and it's elegantly and beautifully resolved. The experience of the people who will live here and those living in the neighborhood have been at the center of our design thinking from the very beginning, and I know it has been yours as well. Passive solar screens, a regionally appropriate palette of materials, photovoltaic roof panels that mitigate the intense heat of Fresno summers, generate clean energy, and visual interest are all part of the project. It has a modern design sensibility, a strong graphic identity, a locally designed art that will characterize this affordable mixed-use building. It is as equally appealing as any market rate residential development, as any building people will call home should expect it to be. So, with all that in mind, let's do some excavating. All right, just turn over the dirt. You get in there too, Scott.
Nice. Nice. Well, thank you very much for Jeff and the entire team at GGLO. Our newest team member is a really important part of our team. Gustavo Velasquez recently became the director of California's Department of Housing and Community Development. And this is why it's so important that he is part of our team. He joins at such a critical time. The pandemic and the disparate impact the economic downturn has had on people of color affirms the important role housing plays in keeping low and moderate income people safe and healthy. And the heightened attention on racial injustice at the national and local levels emphatically illustrates the role government policies played in created segregated neighborhoods. Immediately prior to joining HCD, Gustavo was the director of Urban Institute's Urban Greater DC, a cross-center initiative and multidisciplinary program of evidence and policy analysis focused on the nation's capital and the area around the nation's capital. But more importantly, prior to joining Urban Institute, Gustavo served for 3 years as Assistant Secretary for Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity at the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, where he was the strategic lead of the Fair Housing and Inclusive Community Agenda for the Obama administration. Gustavo has also worked in executive roles in the administration of 3 DC mayors and has the extensive nonprofit experience, having served as the executive director of the Latino Economic Development Center and the Congreso de Latinos Unidos. Welcome, Gustavo. This may be your first visit to Fresno, but this will not be your last time to Fresno. Welcome.
Thank you, Preston. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to the mayor and all the other distinguished guests. I am very, very pleased to be with you, bringing greetings and best wishes from Governor Gavin Newsom as we celebrate this truly transformative moment. Preston is right. This is my very first virtual groundbreaking ceremony. since I started this critically important job at HCD 4 months ago. And let me say, I am so pleased that this is the very first one. You are a shining star on the hill today, believe it or not, as we are battling one emergency after another, seeing people left and right in distress and uncertainty about what the future lies. Here you are, giving us an example that things, positive things, are still very much possible. And when it comes to housing, housing is the foundation for economic security and opportunity, for stability in our lives at a time where we need that stability and that security the most. And you have worked, together across all kinds of lines, built consensus. I can only imagine, dealt with ups and downs, and you got your project, funded with both public and private partnership. Is a tribute well deserved that we are here. So with every amount of dirt, even if it's just a little bit from the team before me, virtually at least, you turn over today, I hope you will celebrate that you are much, much closer to creating a great vision here. It's really a community vision. It's not just this housing development. And we have certainly a great local elected leadership with the mayor, members of the council, and your leadership, Preston and others at the Housing Authority, moving this city in the right direction. Let's not forget that with every shovelful of earth you raise, we are reminded that you're also honoring the rich history of Chinatown. Preston, you made reference to history, and unfortunately disparities sometimes in that history. But we have to remember those who stood and who stand on it, this community decades and decades, a diverse and inclusive community representing nearly a dozen different cultures, a microcosm really of California in that regard. And as a department that fights every single day to promote, prod, and produce more affordable housing across this state, especially for those who have been disadvantaged for so long, we are so pleased to see you start off this whole process with housing, paving the way for low and moderate income residents to gain a roof over the heads they can afford. So HCD, again, let me just say, so proud to be a part of this. We have great partners. I see, a Strategic Growth Council. We work very closely with Luis and others, both on the TCC front and the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program. I can also see Tia, my colleague, who our sister agency, College FA, that is such a strong partner in this and in many other fronts. And I'll conclude with this. We have many goals at the state when it comes to housing. 3 of those are reform land use, address the needs of the most vulnerable people, and the 3rd is to invest in existing communities and develop them for the future. And you have hit the mark on all of these 3. So on behalf of everyone here at HCD, we congratulate you on reaching this milestone. You have our continued support here at the state level. We're here for when you need us. And I look forward to the day when I can come to visit Fresno in person and see all the results of your outstanding efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Gustavo, for joining us. You reminded me of something that Morgan and Jeff also made me think about, which is we are going to have local artists who are going to create local artwork to really connect us to the history and to propel us forward. So we're working with the Fresno Arts Council to find that artist. So I want to give a shout out to anyone who's listening, who's an artist. Please submit a proposal. But that's another way that we can really celebrate Chinatown's rich history. So our next speaker is Luis Bedsworth. Dr. Bedsworth is the Executive Director of the Strategic Growth Council, a state agency that brings multiple agencies and departments to support sustainable communities, emphasizing strong economies, social equity, and environmental stewardship. The Strategic Growth Council works collaboratively with public agencies, communities, and stakeholders to achieve sustainability, equity, economic prosperity, and quality of life for all. I read somewhere that over the last few years, through SGC, through the California Climate Investments, that they've invested $1.5 billion into disadvantaged communities. And when I thought about that, recognizing what's happened with TCC funds here in Fresno, that it is leveraged up. And so I can imagine through SGC that it's not 1.5 billion, but much more that's been invested in neighborhoods. Louise has traveled to Fresno many times over the past few years. She truly understands the importance of investment in neighborhoods that seek positive outcome in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, increasing workforce development opportunities, and increasing affordable housing. Louise, it's great to have you back in Fresno with us today.
Thanks, Preston. I wish I was in Fresno in person, but happy to be here virtually. And I just want to say on behalf of SGC, we are always thrilled to see every milestone hit with TCC in Fresno. It is our largest investment as an organization, and I think is really truly a testament to what community partnership and leadership can do. And so we are very proud to be supporting the Monarch at Chinatown. As has been noted by several folks who are really excellent spokespeople for TCC, this is one of 17 projects that we are supporting in Fresno, in Chinatown, downtown, and Southwest Fresno as part of the Transform Fresno grant. And so we're really excited to have our funding going into this project and into all of the related projects as well. I think it's been noted it's going to make build 57 affordable housing units, but then also really connect into the neighborhood, provide transit options, urban greening, and a number of other amenities that hopefully will just improve quality of life. And I think alongside the investment in high-speed rail, really helps to lift up how we can integrate our climate and equity goals. And we're just really excited, since this is an investment in a community that has seen a lot of disinvestment over the years. And we're really proud of the community-led process that came through TCC, and that is really the heart of our program. You guys have demonstrated how to do participatory budgeting, how to have the community voices come together and set priorities. And really not just build infrastructure, but also the social capital and social power that is needed to help communities lift themselves up and transform. And I think the formation and growth of the Chinatown Fresno Foundation really assures us that we're on the right track and that Fresno has a very bright future. We're already starting to see positive impacts from this affordable housing development. As the mayor mentioned, the developers worked with the city of Fresno's fire department to relocate and cease use of the fire training tower, which was a lot of discussion time around that. But I think in the end, what we're really doing is creating a more livable neighborhood and a safe place for people to be, and that's just wonderful. And so I mentioned this project is linked to a number of other TCC investments in the area, including Chinatown urban greening, pedestrian pathways, lighting and tree planting, enhanced bus service. And so all of these are really working together to catalyze transformation. So no, SGC remains committed to working with Fresno, to being down there whenever we can. I know I've been lucky enough to be down there. Our staff is down there often, and we look forward to being able to do that again. But working with the mayor's office, with Councilmember Arias, with Courtney and H has just been delightful. And of course, Preston, with you and your team. So just know we'll be there to continue supporting you all. Thanks for the opportunity to join virtually today. And congratulations on the groundbreaking, and we will come down and visit it soon.
Great, thank you. I have to tell a very quick story. I was on a Urban Institute forum yesterday. They're drafting an agenda for the future of public housing. And they asked for examples around the country of great examples of of development around public housing. And I said, well, it's not public housing, but the Strategic Growth Council and TCC, let me tell you about that. And the idea of investing in the entire neighborhood is really gutsy, right? Because we get into these conversations of cost per unit. But if we're really going to transform a place, it's about, as you said, the greening of a neighborhood. It's about the street improvements that have to happen so that the housing doesn't, isn't an island, but it's an investment in the neighborhood. So I think SGC and TCC is a national best practice that we should all be talking about all the time. So thank you for coming to Fresno. So I'm a little biased. I serve as the Valley's representative on TIA's board of directors. So I get to see her work all the time, and I am a huge fan. So I might come across as a little biased here, but so Ms. Tia Boatman-Patterson has served as the executive director of California Housing Finance Authority since being originally appointed by Governor Brown in August of 2014. She was recently reappointed to a second 5-year term by Governor Newsom. Previously to her appointment at CalHFA, Tia served as agency counsel and later as the general counsel to the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency. And she also served as a special assistant to California State Assembly Speaker Karen Bass and California State Assembly Speaker Fabian Nunez. But more importantly, Tia is one of us. She's a Valley girl from Orosi, I believe. And some of her family live here in Clovis and in Fresno. I think they have a farm in Hanford. Her life experiences growing up in the Valley give her a really unique grounding. She's a mixture of self-determination and personal accountability with the full understanding of the impact systems and cultural norms have. She applies thoughtful, rigid financial analysis mixed with compassion and heart. Here is my friend and a houser to her core, Ms. Tia Boatman-Patterson.
Thank you, Preston, and thank you, Mayor Brand, and thank you to all of my colleagues that helped make all of this happen. When this project initially came across our desk, and I think Preston and Mayor Brand mentioned the 3 Ps. Well, for me, what I immediately saw was partnership, people, and purpose. And so CalHFA, as a first lien lender and a gap financer, had the ability to do a small loan program and be able to come in and provide lending and that little bit of gap to make this project all come together. And what I loved about the project was the partnership with the Public Housing Authority, having lived in Public Housing Authority and having had an affinity for public housing, but that it also created a mix of incomes. You have ELI, VLI, extremely low income, very low income, and low income in this development that will allow people to actually move up and be a more sustainable development. So I really like to see the mix of incomes that we were able to hit and target with this particular development. I am from the Valley, I'm from Tulare. I have an aunt that does live in Clovis and another aunt, my father's sister, that lives in Fresno. So I am a Valley girl to my core, and Preston and I have made sure that the Valley has received its fair share of state investment and housing. The Monarch at Chinatown is actually the 18th affordable housing development in the Valley that has received financing from CalHFA in the last 7 years. Like I said, though, this particular one really stands out because of the layering of state financing that had to be put in place. And sometimes when you have different entities working together, making sure that they're all swimming in the same direction. But I knew that this was a priority, not only for the city, the community of Fresno, but it was a priority for the state of California because my colleague Gustavo, his department had put funding in it. Strategic Growth Council had put funding in it. So we wanted to make sure at CalHFA that we prioritized this project to make sure it got funded. So not only were we the lender, the first lien lender, we actually helped issue the bonds so that when it came time for 2020 to ensure that this project was prioritized, we were the bond issuers and made sure that we were able to prioritize it. So while other people are kind of waiting in line because bonds have gone competitive, we were able to help prioritize and make sure that this project got quickly funded. So I am so excited about being able to share in that partnership with all of you. This is going to be an issue that we continue to work on at the state level, and I'm happy to that I have some excellent colleagues at the SGC and at HCD to be able to help this continue moving forward. But deals like this, they just do my heart proud, because you do see economic development, community development, a mixture of incomes. You see everything in this particular project, and I can't wait till you guys actually build it, because I'm going to come visit my aunt so that I can see it. But I want to thank you all for your partnership, your collaboration, for working with us, the City of Fresno for working well. This is truly a great project, and thank you, Preston, and thank you, Mayor Brand.
Thank you, Tia. And it's just a great partnership with College FA. It's not just a multifamily developments. I can't remember the number, but I think it's 60,000 first-time home buyers in the Valley in the last 7 years. So it's both renters and homeowners. So bringing everything together and to a close today is Council President and District 3 Council Member Miguel Arias. He represents West Fresno, the Tower, and Central and Downtown neighborhoods. He is a native of Mendota, where he and his family labored in the fields as farm workers. After graduating from Mendota High, Mr. Arias Miguel attended California State University, Fresno. After a short stint of working in DC, Miguel came back to Mendota. He was first appointed to and subsequently was elected as a trustee of the Mendota Unified School District. And while living in Mendota, he started working as a rural resource development specialist with the Fresno County EOC. He subsequently accepted the role of Chief of Staff to Fresno City Council Member Belong Zhang, and then he served in various senior roles with Fresno Unified School District. But more recently, Miguel served on the State Center Community Board of Trustees from November 2014 to 2018. And both as a trustee and then as a council member the past 3 years, Miguel has played the very important role in TCC. He was the one who first visualized the Fresno City College campus in West Fresno that is the keystone to transform Fresno, and he now serves as the chair of Transform Fresno's Outreach and Oversight Committee. The best way that I can describe Miguel is to say that he is fully committed to raising the voice of those impacted by government action. Equity and inclusion are his core values. Welcome, Miguel, to this groundbreaking.
Thank you, Preston, and thank you for putting in all this work to give us a virtual groundbreaking. It's been an interesting year for 2020 for all of us. Just to give you a very short and clear understanding of what we're about to do, we have always had the goal to create neighborhoods where people can live, work, and play in their neighborhoods across this whole city, especially in the areas that have been left behind like Chinatown. The goal is simple: live, work, and play. It's a simple soundbite, but 2020 has proven to be the year where anything that could go wrong has gone wrong. Not only in Fresno did we experience our first mass shooting in 2020, but then we got into a pandemic that continues. Now we're engaged in a budget crisis that we've never seen the magnitude of before. And if that wasn't enough, we're dealing now with fires where we can hardly breathe in our city. Any one of those crises would have been sufficient to stop this transformative project. Yet the 14 partners that you outlined today didn't allow this crisis, much less all those combined, to stop this caterpillar from becoming that monarch butterfly that Chinatown so much deserves. Thanks to all those partners, Fresnans will be able to live, work, and play in Chinatown once again. Just to give you a picture of what that's gonna look like, Fresnans will be able to have breakfast at Cuca's, lunch at Chef Paul's, shop for groceries at Central Fish, get a haircut at Ophelia's Barbershop, and even be able to get dessert of Pan Dulce in the Panaderia Hermosa in Chinatown. All that is what live, work, and play looks like in a neighborhood like Chinatown. And since taking this position as a council member, I always get the feeling of I'm in a constant apology tour, making up for historical wrongs and misguided policies. And it's been an honor to try and right those wrongs and to work with people like Mayor Lee Brand that didn't allow all these crises that we're under in 2020 to get in the way of making progress every single day. But we won't celebrate just yet. As a reminder, I am the chair of the Oversight Committee, and I have this amazing little clock here. I'm sure you can see. Not only does it count down the deadline for completing all the TCC projects, it also counts on the deadline of my 4 years in office. So every single day that I come in, I continue to monitor each project visually, and I also continue to monitor the countdown clock to make sure that all of us continue down the path of giving Fresnans and Chinatown what they have deserved so for generations, which is a neighborhood that they can live, work, and play, and see quality housing, quality small pop businesses, and streets and streetscape that you would find in any other part of the city. So congratulations for everyone, but a tentative congratulations, because until that project is complete, until the streetscape and the trees are in, until the drip irrigation is working, and we see families walking with strollers to have breakfast, lunch, haircuts, and grocery shop in the neighborhood, we're gonna not party until that time comes. And hopefully by then, the pandemic is over and we can actually have an in-person reunion. So thank you all and keep up the good work.
Dagnabbit, I had it on I got another one. I can't believe I did that. I'm gonna do it. I can't believe I had it on mute. This is it. It's to celebrate. All right, Kyle, let's show the last video.